Namaste, and welcome to our continuing series of interviews with disciples and devotees. Today I'm happy to have Shobana with us. Namaste. You have a long history.
Yes.
Could you tell us how you first heard of Sri Aurobindo and Mother?
Yes. My father had a sugar factory and plantations in East Africa, in a small place called Miwani. And Puraniji came and gave us a lecture.
Oh.
Yes. And he gave us all pictures of Mother and Sri Aurobindo. And we were very, very happy. And my father was very, very interested. And when we came home, he made a shelf in the living room and he put up the pictures. And he used to...
What year was this? Do you remember roughly?
Oh my goodness.
Just roughly.
I have literally no idea. I was only a kid. I was maybe 6 years old.
Oh, I see.
I was studying in the local staff school. So I was born in 1946, so it would be about 50-something, 52, something like that. And my father used to meditate in front of Mother and Sri Aurobindo's pictures every evening. And of course I never took any notice. And then one day he scolded me for getting terrible marks at school. And so what I did was I thought, right, I'm going to sit down with him and pray to Mother and Sri Aurobindo. And I prayed to them every day and I said, please make me first in my class. And believe it or not, I was first. The next exams I was first. So that was my first experience of Mother and Sri Aurobindo's grace. And
so when did you come to the ashram?
We actually didn't come to the ashram, we came to visit. There used to be a man who used to work with us. And we came to visit the ashram. We visited all over India. I think it was 57. And my father and I and the whole family, we all came and stayed with an ashramite, Rambai. And because he used to work for us, and then he came to the ashram. And at that time, we used to do in the evening, we used to walk past the mother in the playground. She used to give us prasad. And just before going in, I was very interested in playing in the Green Group's playground, just right behind. I wanted to play on the slides and swings, and they said, only ashramites can use this place. You can't, you're a visitor. So I thought, oh. Anyway, we lined up to do our pranams to the mother in the evening. And when it was my turn, I said to the mother, oh mother, I like it here, can I stay? I think the idea was so that I could play in the playground.
Yes.
Where I was too young to really think
but
of
you were
the
about
spirituality.
11 years old, maybe.
I was 10, actually.
10.
I was 10. And then she said to me, well, you're all going to come and live here. Your father's going to come here. He's going to build his business here, and you're all going to come and live here. And my father was thinking, this girl, what is she asking? I don't want to come here. I love Africa. I'm very happy there. And anyway, so we went away, and then he was very much in communication with the mother from there. So all the time, and he would, sometimes we had no rain on the plantations, the sugarcane, and he would send mother a telex. And when she received it, maybe 2 days or 3 days later, I don't know how long it took in those days, it would immediately rain. Yes, it was really amazing. It was really amazing. And then finally she said to my father, look, Lalji Bhai, as far as I can see into the future, and I can only see 50 years into the future, the whole of the continent of Africa is going to be in a turmoil. And 60s, they started the independence movement in
Yes.
Kenyatta. And it was very violent and it was very rough. And she said, I would like you to come to the ashram and stay here. I'll help you build your business because you and I have worked together for many, many lifetimes.
Oh.
Yes, I would like you to come here.
And he built New Horizon Sugar Mills.
She built it. The mother built it.
So it brings us all together again.
Yes, in
Because
record time.
I knew Huta so well, of course.
Yes, and then Huta also got to know about Mother and Sri Aurobindo. And when she got divorced, she ran away and she came here. So she was here before us.
She is
my aunt.
Aunt.
She's my father's sister.
Your father's sister.
Yes.
Good.
And the mother was teaching her how to paint.
Yes.
All the Savitri things, and she was very, very lucky to have
So
it.
Mother actually wrote to your father telling him that there would be
Yes. I think maybe a telex.
A telex?
Yes. As he
So
has
she forewarned him
Yes.
as to what would happen.
Yes, she said, I would like you to come here. I'll help you build your business. And please don't worry about your children. I'll look after them. But I need you to work with me. I need you to come here. So that was very, very interesting. But what they did was they sent us all to English boarding schools. And
Your parents?
yes, and in 1958, and while we were there, they moved here. And when we had our next holidays, we had to come here, and it was very strange, and we didn't like it.
Oh.
Not the mother, but everything was so different.
Very different.
Yes, completely different. And anyway, so gradually we got used to all of that. And the mother helped build the sugar mills. And when they were starting it, when they first started it, all the machinery kept breaking down. Because there was these beings who weren't very happy, and they were creating mischief, and they didn't want it to. And Mother spoke to them. And after that, everything ran smoothly. It was built in record time, within 9 months. And for India...
That's amazing.
Yes, especially in those days.
And it still provides sugar to the ashram.
Does it?
I don't know.
No, I don't. I think we sold it. We don't have it anymore.
Oh, you don't have it?
We don't have it. My father sold it.
So now, who is still alive in your family?
In my family, there's the eldest brother, Suresh.
Right.
And the one after him, Ashok, who's been here all the time, who helped my father with his business, because the mother said, I would like Ashok to help you out, to help work, to work with you. And then my other two brothers, the one who was just older to me, Harish, he died of cancer. And Dilip, who was the youngest one, who was mentally ill, he died 3 years ago. So.
Can you tell me a little bit about your schooling in the ashram?
In the ashram, okay. When I came back from the English boarding school,
Did you like it there, the English boarding school?
Initially, no, I hated it. But then very gradually, it was a very small private boarding school. And I got to know all the girls, and they became my family, because we could only come back once a year to Pondicherry, because 5 of us, it was expensive for my father to bring us for every holiday. And we used to see the mother all the time. I used to go up sometimes with my dad, and it was just lovely. We had a very good, close relationship with her. And I know that when I finished my schooling there and I came back here, I was completely lost, because it was a very strict, almost like a military boarding school, They didn't let you think outside the box, because if you did, you became a rebel. You did things they didn't want you to do. It was a very controlling kind of atmosphere. I had to control
Where did you stay?
I stayed in a boarding school, in the actual boarding.
The boarding right here?
No, when I was, this was in England. This was
in England.
I went to a boarding school in
Yes.
England. So when I came back, of course, we had the house. The mother had already reserved 2 houses for my dad. He'd written to him and said, and when you come, there is either the French Institute, which is the yellow building over there, or this place we are in now, used to be an old convent. And they used to blare out anti-mother, anti-Sri Aurobindo messages in loudspeakers.
Oh my God.
Yes. But
that I had never heard.
Yes. It's a very old house. It used to be a convent. And the priest wasn't. He used to have a Land Rover, and every time he drove past the ashram, he'd put anti-mother and anti-Sri Aurobindo message. He would blare them out over the loudspeakers when he drove past. So yes, they've had to put up with a lot from people like that. So she said, there's this house or that house. But Laljibai, you can choose whichever one you like, but I would prefer it if you chose this one, because I can see it from my room. So that was really nice. Yeah, we can see her room from the top. So that's really nice. And
so you did have to go to school here?
No, when I finished school in England, I came back. I didn't know what I wanted to do, what college, what career. And so I asked the mother, I don't know what to do. Please help me, tell me, what should I do? And then she said, I would like you to study Sri Aurobindo's works in the higher course, in the ashram.
In knowledge?
Yes, in knowledge.
Was it knowledge at that time?
Yes.
Okay.
So, yes.
And with whom did you study?
Oh, I studied with Carrie Joshi, and yes, it was such a wonderful time. It was wonderful, and the education was so free, and one day it was a lovely day, cool and lovely, and I just asked Kirit Bhai, please can we have our class on the beach? And he said, yes, of course. So we all walked down to the beach, and we walked, and we had our lecture with him, and we all talked. It was an amazing time. I mean, I don't know what it's like now, but in those days.
What other teachers did you have?
The other teachers, I had Narada, I had Manoj Das.
In math?
Manoj Das was
Das.
teaching me English. And I had Babuda, who was teaching English as well. Nirodha was teaching me English as I progressed, as I went up. Because it was a free progress school.
It was free progress.
I decided I wanted to go to some of the lower classes, especially history. Because history, the British only teach you their history, connected to their Raj, the British Raj. I knew nothing about Chinese, Egyptian, Indian, all these other histories, and I was interested. So I went 2 classes lower down, and I joined the history class with Sudha Ben and other people. And yes, it was, and even English. I was Norman that was teaching me.
Yes, Norman Dell said, yes, I knew him well.
Yes, he was teaching me. He was taking my English class because he wanted to judge how the English education, what the level was like here, how good it was or how bad. So he made me do loads of tests. That was he was making me do. Loads and loads of tests. And then he could judge. But then when I joined the school proper, when the new year started, then it was many, many different people with whom I had classes.
You knew Jugal?
I did, but I never had a class.
And our great composer?
Great composer?
Yes, who composed music
Sunil?
Sunil?
Of course, yes.
You
it's
studied
most
with him?
Wonderful. No, I didn't study with him. I wish I had.
Everyone
I was
tells
very
me
much.
he was so wonderful. He was the favorite of all, they said.
Yes, absolutely wonderful. The music, I loved his music. And no, I studied art with Samay's uncle. What was his name? How can I? My memory for names is going as I get older.
Mine is too.
So, but he taught me art, and then finally, when I finished school here, when I finished the higher course, I worked in Santerre for 2 years.
Where?
In Santerre, the perfumery.
In Santerre.
Yes.
Oh.
And then I decided I wanted to go to England and study graphic design. So this is what I did in the end. I went back and did study graphic design. Met my unfortunately I got stuck there once I got there, and Mother must have foreseen that. I met my husband there. He was an Englishman who was also very famous. He was a descendant of a very famous artist, an Art Nouveau poster artist, Alphonse Mucha. And we got on very well, but we were friends for 10 years before I finally asked my father if I could marry him. So then after that we got married, a long time after.
And what kind of art did you practice?
I used to do a lot of painting and things here, and I used to do a lot of fabric painting and fabric arts and tie-dye and all kinds of clothes, and I used to make clothes and things. So I was very interested in that. Always been interested in art, and but I studied graphic design when I went to England. Because that's where you could find work. It would have been good work. When I finished college, I did come back and I did do quite a lot of symbols and things for various Oro travels and Oro travels I did some.
When did you come back?
I came back in 1976.
76.
But then I went back and married Stefan, so...
in England again?
Yes, I only stayed here for a few years and then asked my father's permission if I could marry this Englishman, which was initially was a big shock for him.
I'm sure.
Because he's not allowed. But it was all right. And then I sent him pictures of Stefan in the end, and he went, "Oh yes, he's fine, he looks very nice. He doesn't look like all the hippies in Oroville that I used to hang out with." And he just thought, oh, he's just going to be another hippie. I mean,
So when did you come back to the ashram? Permanently?
I'm not really here permanently.
I
wanted to. I bought some land in Oroville in 2006. And I wanted to I became a newcomer in Oroville.
Oh.
But I changed my mind. I changed my mind because the community I wanted to stay in, the German architect was a very strong person, and she took over the whole community, and she was a bit of a control freak. And
oh, really?
Yes.
What was her name?
Jana.
Okay.
She's German, but very strong. Mm-hmm. And I actually had a house built there.
Oh.
And I opted out. And from then on, they don't let newcomers build any houses. They must come to Oroville, stay in Oroville for a couple of years, at least 1 year.
Pay their own way.
Yeah, and then they're allowed.
And then they have to go back to their country.
Oh, really?
And then come back to
that was all
Oroville.
due to me. That was because of me.
Jana Imhoff? No.
I forgot.
I mean, I know the Imhoff family. Frederick.
Not Frederick. I know Frederick was one of my teachers, actually.
Ah.
He was my German teacher. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So it's not his family?
Oh, no,
Okay.
Not his family.
Got it.
Jana is the lady who built Sukhavati, a development called Sukhavati, which is where I wanted to stay. But then when I couldn't, I finally thought, okay, I bought some land just outside of the green, just touching the green belt.
Oh.
Just outside. But as soon as I bought it, it went into litigation. Because apparently the laws in Tamil Nadu said that the money had to be divided not only between the father and the son, but the man I bought it from had 3 daughters, and he didn't share the money from the sale of the land with his daughters. So they put a court case on me, saying, well, 3/5 of this land belongs to us. And that's been going on till recently. And finally, I just prayed to the mother and I said, oh, Mother, I don't want this anymore. I offer it to you. I don't want it. And the next time I came back to India, somebody had been looking for me. They want to buy my land with the problem and everything. So, yeah, I know, it's so interesting. The experiences. I've had so many experiences where even the smallest little thing, when I got divorced from my husband and I bought a place separately, and I used to work in London, so I would have to commute by train every day to London. So when I bought this place, I didn't know anybody there because I was hardly ever there. And
where was it?
It was in Tunbridge Wells in Kent.
In Kent?
Yes, and it looked just like one of the Pondy houses with pillars, and I had French doors, and my flat was an old school, and it had been converted into flats. And I thought, oh, this is just like home. I'm going to buy this. I'm going to stay here. And anyway, that long weekend, I was completely alone, and I hadn't spoken to a soul for 2 days. And come Sunday, and I think it was Sunday or Monday, one of the holiday days. And I just said to the mother, oh, Mother, I haven't spoken to a soul. I'm so lonely. Do something. It was very interesting. And then I thought, oh, don't be so silly. You want to do space clearing in your flat. You want to do feng shui. Just get your books and charts out. And I sat out on my patio and I started doing the charts and things. And the window of the flat next to me overlooks my patio. And half an hour later, a girl started knocking on the window and she said, hey, hello, we want to talk to you. And I thought, it was just amazing. She said, hang on, my friend's just getting the key to the window. And they opened the window and they said, hello, and they hopped out of the window and they came and they sat down on my patio with me. And we had a long chat. And they said to me, we were in a pub 2 hilltops away. On top of a hill, we were having our lunch because it was bank holiday weekend. And we don't know what got into our minds, but we just decided to come here and have a look at the flat. So, all these lovely, she always looks after us so well. She's always looking after us, always.
Can you tell us a little more, if possible, personal things of your experiences with Mother? Nothing that you don't want to share.
Oh, personal things, so if I can remember. Yes. One day I was doing, I was doing feng shui in my flat. And I'd hung a crystal in the window, and then I read in the book, you have to cleanse it out because it absorbs all the negativity. You have to cleanse it out, otherwise there's no point. So I took it off the window and I ran it under some cold water for 5 minutes. And then the book said, well, you can't dry it with a cloth. You have to let it dry naturally. And I thought, how do I do that? So I was holding it and I was praying to the Mother at the same time. And it started to move like a pendulum. And I was so scared. I mean, I know people. My nutritionist used the pendulum to help me with my nutritional problems and whatever I had. And I was so scared, I just threw it away in the corner of the kitchen and I wouldn't touch it for 3 days. And then I picked it up. And many years later, I met a crystal healer who told me it's because that's the only way she could communicate with you. You were asking for help. So that's, ever since then, I can use the pendulum. So that's another thing. I always ask for help. I ask her for various things. I ask all kinds of questions and I get answers, which is amazing. And I help other people as well with questions and answers. So that was lovely. And then it's very, very interesting that ever since I became interested in crystals, I seem to connect with all the crystal people.
Ah.
Yes, very interesting. And one day, when I was visiting, I went back to Tunbridge Wells, and I was just renting somewhere, and it had been raining a lot, and we couldn't go out. And when the rain stopped, everybody came out. Everybody went to the park. I went to the park. I couldn't find any benches I could sit on, and so finally I found a bench with a lady who was sitting there doing some knitting or something. And I asked her, may I share your bench? Would you mind? And she said, no, please sit down. And we got talking, and she was a Portuguese lady. And, she asked me where I'd come from, where I am. And I said, well, I come from Sri Aurobindo ashram, but originally I was in East Africa. And she said, oh, our family were in Africa as well, in Zambia. And we used to do crystal mining and crystals. And so I told her the story about how we came to Pondicherry. I told her my father's story, and I told her about the mother, and she said, the mother? You know the mother? She said, I don't know anybody who knows the mother. So I said, oh, really? She said, I'm a crystal healer. When I heal people, this voice channels through me and gives them the answers, and it's the mother. Because a very famous musician had asked her, who are you to tell me what to do and what not to do? And the mother had said, I'm the mother. So she was channeling the mother's voice. She didn't know who she was. She never met. Yes. And then, anyway, I carried on and I said, and the mother was coming from Japan, and they stopped over in Pondicherry, the ship. And the mother saw a blue dome over the whole of Pondicherry, and she knew, here is the guru I've been looking for all my life, from the blue light. That was Sri Aurobindo's light. And she went, blue light? Really, what kind of? And I thought electric blue, that's what I imagined to be Sri Aurobindo's light. And she said, when I heal people through my crystals, I channel this blue light. So she was channeling the mother and Sri Aurobindo. And didn't know anything about them. So I'd just been for darshan, and then I'd gone to England. I think it was the August darshan. And that time we had the mother's message, the Sri Aurobindo's message, with a blessing packet at the back. And I said, okay, I just thought, I felt it was meant for her. I gave it to her. And she just went inside, and she went, oh, I feel so much joy, so much love and peace. And it was just amazing. She was in touch with them. She didn't even know who they were. So I said, this blessing packet is meant for you. It's yours. Keep it. Oh, thank you. It had the mother's picture, and so she was so happy. She said, I've never seen her.
So how many years did you see Mother? Because you were back and forth.
Yes, I was back and forth.
So
the last time I saw her was, I think, 1972.
72.
And then I went back to college, and that was it. Then we found out, 73, of course, she passed away. Yeah. So it's very interesting. And even my father, he has so many experiences with the mother.
Really?
And oh yes.
Please tell me.
Oh, so many. Oh, I'm not prepared for this, so I can't remember.
Just a few if you remember.
Experiences with the mother. The factory, or the rain I've told you about. What else? So the mother had told him that he could choose when he wanted to die. So when he finally passed away, they were taking him to the nursing home, and he didn't want to go there. He had problems with his kidneys. He couldn't pass you, right? So they were taking him in the car, and that was a day when there was march past in front of the balcony, and he just did pranam to the balcony, and he passed away in the car. He decided he didn't want to stay. What other experiences? He's told me that he's been in the supramental world. He's seen it, he's seen me in there, he's seen the family in the supramental world. So that was very interesting. And I can't remember the exact description he gave. But how I wish I could remember all these things.
Yes.
And then one day he went to see the mother, and the night before there'd been a huge thunderstorm and lightning strikes and everything. And he said, Lalji Bhai, there was a lightning strike going to happen on your house, and I stopped it. Because the house would have been razed to the ground. So all these, so many small things, but, well, they're not really small, but instances.
Yes.
So, yes. And then one day my father was very, very ill. And he asked the mother, what should I do? What should I do? And she said, you don't eat anything. I will send you every day Karala, this very bitter.
Yes, bitter gourd.
Yes, bitter gourd. I will send you every day. You only eat that. And so he only ate that for a whole month. Because I think he must have been quite seriously ill for her to have done that.
Yes.
And then that was it. He became well, and he didn't
How
fall
old
ill
was he
again.
when he passed away?
He was 86.
86?
Yes.
So he had a good life, yes.
Yes.
So close to mother.
He was so lucky. He was so
And
lucky.
others in your family, can you speak a little about them?
The others in my family.
Maybe Suresh?
Suresh. What can I say? I'm sure everybody has had experiences, but I don't remember them. I just remember mostly my father. Yes. And whether they've ever told me these experiences, I'm not sure.
And your mother?
And my mother, she was lovely. And mother asked Mohini Ben to teach her English while through the mother, the book.
Yes.
The mother gave her a signed copy of the book, which I've got at the moment. And so Mohini Ben used to come and teach her English. And mother always called her Mukti. Her name was Mukta, but mother always called her Mukti, which is amazing, which is nice, which was very nice. Yes, she had a lot of faith in the mother as well. I think all of us, you can't help but, right? The way my father came, the way she just called us and we all just came here. It was lovely.
Shobana, what are you doing now?
I'm not doing anything, which is rather sad.
No, I don't know.
I'm traveling. I'm just living in 3 countries. I don't live here all the time. Because once the land went in Oroville into litigation, I really wanted to build something there. I got Andre Babu to design me a round house, which I would have loved to have had. But nothing materialized. And I think it would have been very, very unsafe for me to have lived on that land alone.
I think so.
Yes, I think Mother just stopped
With
it.
all the stories that we've heard over the
Yes,
years.
it was next to Udumbu as well. And I didn't realize that in Udumbu there had been a murder. Did you know? Udumbu is a part of, it's an Oroville community near the green...
And there was a Dutch boy who was going to
testify?
testify.
Yes, and they threatened him with murder.
I know.
So he had to go back home, and then he did a video. He did it over the video. He testified over the video. But my land is just on the other side of the road from Udumbu, and the broker never told me. And mother,
protected you.
yes,
She-
absolutely.
I mean-
I don't feel bad about it. It's fine. In hindsight, you can see
Yes.
this would have been a very dangerous for me to have been
Yes.
staying in alone. I was thinking like an English lady. You know, I've often left my doors, my car doors, my flat
yes.
doors open and gone out, and even in England, many times, without just forgotten to close everything. You know, French doors leading out onto the garden. Everything's always been safe. Nothing's ever been touched. So, you know, that's very, very interesting. So, her protection is always, always there.
What is your experience of the ashram today?
Of the ashram today. It's just that I haven't kept in touch with anybody. And I don't really go there much. But of course the ashram, the samadhi, Suresh left behind a couple of pictures of the samadhi in Sri Aurobindo's room. And I thought, oh, this is great, these are lovely. And when I felt them, I could feel the vibrations. They're so, it's just like being in Sri Aurobindo's room. It's like being in Mother's room. They're very old, pictures taken a long, long time ago. And so these things I always carry with me. And but the ashram nowadays, I don't really know much about it. I haven't really kept in touch that much. I tend to be a bit of a recluse.
Okay.
I live in a cocoon of my own in our house. I hardly go out.
Could you tell me a little bit about your birthdays when you saw Mother?
My birthdays when I saw Mother. Wow. Well, I'm sure everybody's had the same experience. I mean, she just looks in your eyes and you know, she doesn't say much, but obviously she's looking into your soul.
Yes.
And yes, so it's all just very, very beautiful and very lovely. And what can you say? I'm sure everybody has the same experience.
Well, it's been a wonderful interview.
Thank you so much.
I'm so grateful that you could come.
I'm so grateful that you let me tell you about all these things, because I've often wondered, you know, whether these experiences are going to get lost, or you know, how things are going to work out. Because my father he had an interview. He spoke to the school. He told them about how he came here and everything, and they published it in the agenda. One of the school agendas, yes, an old one.
Or the bulletins.
The bulletin, yeah,
bulletin,
one of the school
yes,
bulletin. Yes.
I see.
So I can't remember which year. Would have been. I wasn't here, so must have been sometime in, I don't know. I left in '69 again, so I was here for 6 years and then I left. So
Namaste.
Namaste.
And we are with Shobana again, her 2 remembrances that she will share with us this morning. Welcome, Shobana.
Thank you. So, yes, One is a very important, and I forgot the last time, is one day I took my father to Oroville to meet Peter and Anamika, who in those days had also been studying crystal therapy and crystal healing and aligning the chakras and the aura and everything. So I was very interested. I asked him if he wanted to go there, and he said yes. So we went there, and they read all of his chakras and his aura and everything else. And then Anamika told me that coming into his head from above was a golden light with gold specks inside. So we didn't know. She said, we've never seen this before, ever. And after that, she used to come to my father's office every day, have a talk with him, because she must have thought it's very important. And I kind of feel it must be the supramental consciousness, because I can't imagine, or maybe Mother and Sri Aurobindo's consciousness, I don't know. But in my mind, I imagine this golden light to be the supramental. So that's, yes, a very important thing that I forgot to tell you.
When did your father leave his body?
He left his body in, you know what, I don't exactly recollect the time. Sometime in April, it was Darshan Day, and I told you we were going past the Samadhi and Mother was there.
Right.
And he just did this.
Yeah, yes.
Actually, Mother wasn't there, but everybody was doing march past in front of the balcony. So I don't remember the exact date, but he was 86.
He was 86.
He was 86, and Mother had told him he could choose the time of his passing.
Yes.
So he decided to do it then, because he didn't want to go into a nursing home and all these things, which is understandable.
How beautifully he left, though. How beautifully.
Yes, lovely. Very, very lucky.
You had another story to share with us.
Yes, I have another story. We used to, my father and I and the family, sometimes some other people, we used to go to the lake, to meet Alan all the time, because my father
Louis Allen. Oh, he was a good friend of mine.
Really?
Louis Allen from
Yes,
Africa.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
And my father used to love going there every Sunday, watch the sunset over the lake, and they would natter, and I would have a little chat with his sons, and we used to love going out there because it was natural, reminded us of East Africa so much, and of course talking with Alan about all these things, Africa and things. And when Mother got to know, she gave him a house there. It was a new house that had been built. And she just said, Lalji-bhai, I'd like you to have this house. And that was very, very
She
sweet.
She gave Lalji-bhai a house in the lake.
On the lake,
On
yes.
the lake.
Not
Where
so
Louis
far
was
from,
staying?
Yes, not so far from him.
Oh.
On the way to him, we could see the lake as well. And it was lovely, and we used to spend many weekends there. But finally, when my father decided he would give it back to the ashram. So we were, Dilip and I, my youngest brother and I, were very, very upset because we used to love going there. But anyway, so that was very sweet of her, and so kind and so lovely to have that place to go to. It was really nice. So,
can you remember any other special things about your father?
About my father?
Because, you know, we knew that that Mother wanted him. She said, I have a work for you. I remember this.
Yes.
Someone else had told me this, actually. And she wanted him to build a New Horizon sugar mill.
Yes. That was when she wanted him to come here and leave East Africa.
Right.
And she said, look, Lalji-bhai, as far as, I've said this in my other way, as far as I can see into the future, and I can only see us 50 years into the future.
Mother said that?
Yes.
She said she could only see 50 years into the future.
And in her physical body at that time, this
Right.
is what she could do. And she told him that the whole of the continent of Africa is going to be in turmoil, and that he should come here. She had found a house for him, and she said, "You and I have worked together for many lifetimes, and I would like you to come here and help me, and I'll help you build your business." So this is how New Horizon came about. So
Thank you so much.
that's
Shobana.
okay. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for seeing me again.